welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking what's easily one of the most highly anticipated cinematic events of 2026. Steven Spielberg, the absolute maestro of the sci-fi genre, is finally returning to his extraterrestrial roots with his brand new film, Disclosure Day. But look, I'll tell you right now, this isn't the friendly, candy-eating alien contact we remember from his earlier days. Not at all. We're going to break down the sources, the real-world science, and the incredibly intense behind-the-scenes struggles that shaped this massive project.
If someone proved to you we weren't alone, would that frighten you? Just think about that for a second. This chilling tagline immediately sets a high-stakes thriller tone right out of the gate. We aren't just wondering if they're out there anymore. In this story, we're talking about the terrifying reality of absolute proof and what actually happens to our society when that proof is suddenly, violently exposed to the world.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the ultimate alien revelation.
So the core plot of the film centers entirely around the utter chaos of uncontrolled public disclosure. And it's driven by three key players. You've got Emily Blunt playing Margaret Fairchild, a meteorologist in Kansas City who literally starts speaking in guttural, clicking alien languages on live television. She essentially becomes this involuntary conduit. Wild, right? Then we have Josh O'Connor as Daniel Kellner, this cybersecurity whistleblower. He's got the undeniable proof of non-human entities, and he's decided, you know what? The world has a right to know. But standing in his way is Colin Firth's character, Noah Scanlon, a shadowy government antagonist who is fiercely protecting these secrets just to maintain global order. It's this massive, explosive clash between total transparency and strict institutional control.
Moving on to Section 2, Spielberg's extraterrestrial evolution.
You know, to really get why Disclosure Day is so significant, we kind of have to look at how Spielberg's perspective has drastically shifted over his nearly 50-year career. Back in 1977, with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Contact was all about wonder and musical communication. Fast forward to 2026, and it's possession and a terrifying, involuntary broadcast. In the 70s, disclosure was peacefully, neatly controlled by the government at the end of the film, but in Disclosure Day, it's public, it's chaotic, and it's completely uncontrolled. The tone has shifted completely from awe and discovery during the Cold War era to pure thriller and paranoia in our modern post-truth world. It's just a fascinating evolution of a filmmaker's mindset.
Which brings us to Section 3, a 42-draft script problem.
42. That is a staggering number. Creating this paranoid thriller required perfectly balancing an intense chase movie with heavy philosophical themes like religion and existential dread. And the result? Screenwriter David Koepp literally wrote 42 drafts over 3 years just to solve this massive narrative puzzle. To put that into perspective for you, Koepp wrote Jurassic Park and War of the Worlds. The guy has generated nearly $3 billion at the box office. He knows what he's doing. But finding the absolute perfect blend of emotional logic, plot mechanics, and philosophical weight forced him into a personal record of rewrites.
Actually, the core of this whole narrative struggle is captured perfectly by Spielberg himself. He noted that during Close Encounters, he used to think, wouldn't it be wonderful if all of this turned out to be true? But almost 50 years later, his mindset evolved to, wouldn't it be wonderful for us to actually know that all of this is true? And that difference between merely wishing for contact and dealing with the absolute, undeniable proof of it is exactly the problem that took 42 drafts to figure out.
Okay, let's get into Section 4, breaking real-world protocols.
What makes the panic in Disclosure Day feel so incredibly grounded is that it weaponizes actual real-world science. You might not know this, I definitely didn't, but humanity actually has a real plan for first contact. It's called the IAA SETI Post-Detection Protocol. This is a multilateral framework drafted by the International Academy of Astronauts, first created back in 1989 and updated in 2010. Its entire purpose is to ensure that if we find aliens, the process is calm, structured, and transparent. Basically, it's designed to prevent the exact global panics depicted in Spielberg's new film.
Here's how that protocol is actually supposed to play out. Step 1. Internal validation across multiple independent observatories. Step 2, scientific notification to the broader astronomical community. Step 3, a transparent public announcement. And Step 4, international coordination through bodies like the UN before anyone even thinks about sending a reply. It's super methodical, right? But it heavily assumes that scientists and major government observatories are the ones securely in control of the discovery.
While the movie throws a massive wrench into those gears, Disclosure Day's whistleblower shatters this protocol entirely. Josh O'Connor's character isn't a scientist, and he's sure as heck not an IAA signatory. He bypasses the scientific community completely and decides to unilaterally dump the classified data directly to the public. The film exposes our carefully laid plan's greatest weakness, the terrifying reality that in our modern smartphone era, some rogue individual might just leak the biggest discovery in human history straight to social media first.
All right, let's get into the really fun stuff. Section 5. Decoding the fan theories.
Naturally, with marketing this secretive, internet speculation has completely exploded. Let's look objectively at the biggest theories out there. The first major one is future humans. See, in the trailer, the whistleblower says the truth belongs to 7 billion people. But wait, our actual population is over 8 billion. Fans think this isn't a mistake. Combining this with an old Spielberg interview, they theorize the aliens are actually humanity returning from 500,000 years in the future. Mind-blowing, right? Next up is the nature's messengers theory. The trailers are just full of weirdly behaving animals, cardinals landing on fingers, deer staring ominously. Fans are suggesting this non-human intelligence is observing and communicating through nature rather than showing up in giant metal spaceships. And finally, the secret sequel theory. Because the film is coming out right before the 50th anniversary of Close Encounters and a casting listing popped up for a 1947 excavating soldier in New Mexico, some fans believe this might secretly tie right back to the Roswell incident and Spielberg's 1977 classic.
And finally, we arrive at our conclusion. The L factor.
To wrap up this explainer, we really need to tie the terrifying premise of Disclosure Day back to a foundational piece of astrophysics, Frank Drake's famous 1961 equation. Drake created this to estimate the number of communicating civilizations in our galaxy. Well, the final variable in his math is the L factor, the average longevity of a civilization capable of broadcasting into space. Basically, for an alien civilization to actually reach Earth, their L factor must be incredibly high. It means they've survived their own technological adolescence and have existed for a staggering amount of time.
Which leaves us with a really provocative, kind of unsettling question. If an alien civilization has survived long enough to reach us, does their vast age guarantee that they're benevolent and wise? Or is humanity actually right to be absolutely terrified of a species that has outlived all the others? Disclosure Day definitely leans heavily into the fear that being ancient doesn't necessarily mean being safe. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep looking up, and I'll catch you next time.